Okay, so it's been a long time since I made a video. I'm gonna go ahead and make a video on the next little, project that I'm working on. So I bought a bunch of these like tire balancers and that kind of stuff, kind of on the cheap because they kind of needed some repairs. And so I've been kind of going through this one. This one's like an HD one, so it's like for 14 ply all the way up to like 24.5 tires, like semis, things like that. So this is like a lift that picks the tires up and stuff. I don't have it attached or anything, but the cleanliness of it to kind of give you an idea. This machine's fairly cleaned up, but not totally. You can see like, kind of where I've gone through there. I've kind of cleaned some of this up, but I'm going to be taking this hood off, pressure washing it, things like that. But the inside of this actually looks nearly brand new, but it didn't look anything like that when I got it. Either did this. So I've been kind of going through and cleaning all this up. And so this is what it looks like after it's been all completely blown off and then knocked out. Like, tried to get all the trash out of it and stuff. So you can see these things were super, super nasty. And like this kind of give you an idea here. This, like, I've already kind of wiped this once, right? I'll need to come back at it again. But yeah, pretty nasty. This is completely covered. This cylinder's dead. But so I got these. They kind of didn't work. You can kind of see how some of this actually works. A lot of people don't really get into detail on any of these tire balancers or anything like that. So this is Hunter Engineering. This is USA made stuff. Seems to be really, really, really well built, heavy built. Everything here seems to be really, really heavy built. This one's a road force one, so it applies force through an airbag right there, through a load cell, and then it kind of pushes this out against the tire and measures like the centripetal and as well as like side-to-side forces of the tire itself, which works pretty good. This is the little indicator rod. So like when you're measuring like your rim edge, or you're gonna like move this around and you're gonna measure like where you want the weights to go, if it's gonna be like a sticky weight, and then like these would be like an MC weight, like that kind of thing. And then this is an extended shaft. This is 40 millimeter threads right here. This one is an auto recovery unit. So what you do is you hit this foot switch and it turns real slow to actually draw the tire and everything back up onto it. This kind of stuff right here, like this little switch right here, is what actually raises this whole thing, which is kind of neat. And then this arm that's right here, you actually bring it in next to the rim in addition to that one right there, and it will actually measure like wheel run out, because like this will spin. But you can see how dirty this is. I haven't cleaned any of this yet, but you can see this is pretty nasty. Like, it is nasty, but pretty neat. Once I get it all together, the monitor and everything was dead on this. We had some other issues that was wrong with it. Got all that fixed. So this one right here, I'm in the process of getting cleaned up, and I'm actually going to take this whole hood off and everything right here, and take that and that piece over there, and then probably this and I'm going to pressure wash all that and get it all cleaned up and that kind of thing. So I'll kind of show you the second one, even though I have like 3 of these, and everything in here is absolute chaos right now because I've decided to put all these in here. So I'm going to clear all of this stuff out of here, throw stuff away I don't need, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so this is the one that I've kind of worked on the most, and although it looks like trash, it's because I don't know anything about this process. And so I bought this equipment, and I'm kind of going through this equipment, and I'm understanding, 1, how it works, 2, how it works appropriately, like with the road force thing and stuff like that, and then how everything kind of like switches, buttons, how's the computer work, what are the, because this isn't a touchscreen version, so you have to use all these input keys and stuff to do what you want. I've got this one turned off right now, but this one right here I've kind of gone through and cleaned up. So this is the cleaned up version, and this is also a road force one, but this one's kind of more like for cars, where that one is more like for semis. So anyway, so what's kind of cool about this is a much bigger roller, but it measures the force a little differently. And so basically when you drop the hood right here, this will start to spin, but then that airbag inflates, and I'll show you the back of that. But this much larger airbag inflates here, and that's a much bigger load cell than what it is on the semi one, but they both seem to work the same. This one doesn't have a lift on it or anything like that, and that kind of stuff. Now these are collets. You can see that they're dual-sided, which I didn't know anything about this either, but they go in, and I'm sure people will probably correct me on this. I don't know shit about this, right? So that's kind of what it boils down to. So I've been kind of marking them like, you know, we have a Lincoln Nautilus, and so like this side right here, so I'll slide that collet on like this, and then that Lincoln wheel goes on this side. And then what I did was I bought hub centric stuff, or not hub, so like wheel centric. This is kind of what I bought here. And I do kind of promote these. These are actually pretty nice. So that's a 6 lug. That's the one I've been using on the trailers. And then this is a 5 lug. And so what's kind of neat about these is I believe these might be actually like a cast aluminum, because they seem a little bit more rigid than like plastic. Oh. But what's kind of neat, you load the rim on and then you load this on. And then it's super easy. You just rotate this. You can kind of see the lugs kind of pull in until you get it to line up with your lugs. And then you kind of set it in. And then this little doomahickey here will kind of go on. Oh yeah, that was awesome. So, like I said, no expert here, that's for sure. Never would claim to be. Anyway, this right here is probably like a little thrust bearing or something like that on here. And then as you tighten this down, you know, it tightens down within the lugs, and then you smash the back of the wheel up here, but then this kind of centers it. But it actually centers on these, so you're actually balancing on how the wheel's actually mounted to the car. And I think that's pretty awesome. And then that just comes right off. You can kind of see how that is. So it's pretty sweet. At least I think it's pretty sweet. The other thing that's kind of neat about this is that these, you can pop these off and replace them with other ones. Let's see if I can do that. I'm not super good at trying to video stuff where there we go. So you can see that you can just kind of snap that right off, and then there's different ones that go on here. I've got a whole like box of them there. But so they'll kind of all go on there separately, and then oh, I guess it's already on. Cool. And then these will pop off. Like, so so you have to go like a couple of times. What I'm looking at is there's an arrow here and these couple of dots. And what I'm looking to do is try to line those up, or at least that's what some of their videos say. So we'll keep rolling those around until they kind of line up. And you'll see what I mean right there. So there's the 2 dots and the arrow, kind of like a cam or something, right? Honestly, this right here, totally, like this ring gear, totally feels like machined aluminum. But anyway, so the purpose of this right here is, like, hang on one second. So you can pop these out. Like, let's say you drop this thing and this thing gets all jacked up. And instead of you like just putting it back in some random location, you'll kind of line those dots up with that arrow. And then it'll snap back in, and then you're back on the money, and then they're all back in sync again. I think that's pretty cool. This is actually made by a company called RTR, and this is what they call a speed plate. So I'm not going to show that there, but it's like a speed plate. But and this is, and I'm not sponsored by them. I mean, I don't sponsor anything, but this is kind of what that is. And it comes with 4 lug, 5 lug, 6 lug, but technically the 4 lug makes an 8 lug, so on and so forth. So pretty cool. A lot cheaper than the Hunter Engineering version, which from what I can tell is all made out of machined aluminum, so probably like Mike 6 or something like that. And if you drop it, like, it's junk. If you drop those, like this thing right here, I mean, this whole assembly right here, not including this little lug here, but this entire assembly is like $22. So much easier to deal with, much more susceptible to, you know, easily being replaced versus it being like a financially, you know, draining, you know, situation. So this one right here, I've used this one right here. I have done, oh, haha, see, almost did it already. So this one right here I used on 6 lug because I've got a bunch of trailers out there that are 6 lug. This worked awesome on that. This worked awesome on my Lincoln because it's a 5 lug, and I have a Bronco that's a 5 lug. So it'll probably work great on that. And then I do have some 8 lug stuff, but it's all going to be 14 ply, so I don't think this one will apply. But I do have the semi version of this thing, which is way different. And then I also have the ones that's like for 450s and 550s. I'm sure they fit other 19.5s, but I only kind of care about what I got. So I'll try to do some kind of video of me actually using this thing and kind of doing some tires and doing some balancing and seeing how that goes. As long as you guys, you know, maybe comment or give it a thumbs up or something like that and let me know that you even care. I have noticed that this stuff right here, this grease off or whatever it is, man, that right there will clean the wheels like crazy. So that works pretty awesome for getting all the dirt and debris and everything off of them before you balance them, like that kind of stuff. So like this one right here, you can see I marked it 15-inch steel. So that works out really good on my 15-inch steel rims. And then this one right here works out really good on my 15-inch aluminum rims. So, because I found out, so this is spring loaded here. And then you need to collapse it, but you need to be able to have like the rim to where the rim kind of comes like back in here on this thing. Like it needs to come pretty deep on this thing because this only collapses so far. And that's what ends up not getting the back of the rim against this. So then the rim's like doing this when it's on here, and then it tells you, you know, I'm handicapped or something. But anyway, so I also use this. Idaho has decided to start using brine on the roads. And because of that, the aluminum rim on a steel rotor isn't doing so great. So I bought these little like sandpaper tooth things or whatever, and then I just kind of scrubbed the back of it, which seems to work pretty good. And then I bought these to scrape off the wheel weights, which seems to work pretty good as well. This weird looking thing here, I just kind of set here because I'm going to be moving all this stuff around. This is actually a calibration device for these, like that one too, but like for these, which is kind of cool. Other than that, I decided to go ahead and opt for a gear wrench version of this thing, which I don't know if it works better than the cheapo ones that they come with or not. And then the same company that I bought that stuff from, I bought these wheel weights. Now I bought low profile so they don't hit calipers or anything like that. And I bought the black and the silver. And then this is MC weights. So this is what will go on like motorhome 450, 550. And then I bought these weights here, and these go on steel. So these are an S weight, even though it doesn't say anything. This is an S weight, and it's mostly because of where this collapses on top. So you can kind of see that where it's real narrow. And this is what I'm talking about here. Where on this one, this really is hard to hold the phone and grab this stuff out of here. Anyway, so I'm just going to grab this so you can kind of see it. But you can see that that's a much wider. Oh, I'm not doing that very good at all. So there's one right there. So you can see that that's a much wider opening, and it goes against like those aluminum rims because the aluminum rims have kind of a really fat lip on them. So, and this is like a combo kit. And then these ones are, I believe these are steel, but they're painted. So they're not supposed to oxidize or corrode or anything like that. That's the same thing that these are. And I did this because I have like steel wheels that are gray. And then these ones will go on the inside of aluminum wheels. And they do have just the zinc ones, which is what you typically see on everything, which is like what this is. And that's probably fine. But this is a steel clip on a zinc weight, or a lead weight, sorry. And it just seems easier to me if they're kind of painted, because then, like, I don't know, they don't oxidize a little, you know, maybe faster. I don't know. Who knows? Like I said, I don't know anything about this. It's all buy it, figure it out, make it work. We have about 78 tires. So the reason behind this, we have about 78 tires on all of our cars and equipment and trailers and all this other kind of stuff. And by the time I take it somewhere and have all that done, like it's a pretty decent amount of money for just mounting and balancing. And if you've ever been to a tire shop, one, they don't care about, what they do to your rims. And two, they're just going to throw it on a balancer, and they're probably not going to do it with a road force system. They're just going to balance the thing and throw it on your rig and send you on down the road. And, probably 50% of the time, it's probably totally fine. But the other 50% of the time, like your car shakes like crazy, and then you take it back there, and then it seems like it never really gets any better. But you've wasted like 5 hours there the first time and 2 or 3 hours there the second time. So now you've wasted 8 hours of your week doing what, right? Like, are you reaping anything from that? And I can be way more thorough with my own equipment. So anyway, so this is kind of a next project. I'll try to go through that. Like I said, I've kind of turned this whole thing into a straight disaster area because I've been just throwing stuff around and everything. And it kind of looks like everything else in my life where it's just a chaos. But anyway, I'm going to go through and kind of get all this cleaned up. And once I get it all cleaned up, it won't look anything like this. And then I'm going to end up putting kind of this tire balancing equipment, because I do have a Hunter mount or dismounter, or whatever it is you guys call those things. But it mount and dismounts the tires, and it's kind of big. It'll do up to a 20-inch rim. It'll grab the outside diameter of a 28-inch rim, so it'll do probably 29 from the inside. Anyway, this is some of my neon stuff over here, but once I get these balancers and stuff out, I'll probably go through another video where I kind of like have these all turned on and everything, because I'm going to run electrical and air and everything for this whole thing. And then you guys will kind of be able to see like how they function, what they do, and why. And you know, kind of why I went with this versus buying like one of those Chinese ones. So, you know, because first of all, like, the build quality is fantastic. I want to put it in perspective that this machine right here, it's used, it's done about 72,000 tires, and it still works perfectly. Like, I want one of those Chinese ones to have the same kind of like clout, right? That thing's only done about 12,000. Look at all this disaster. That one's only done about 12,000. So that one should be quite a bit better shape. It definitely looks a lot better inside. This one inside, when you pull that off, kind of looks very similar to the rest of it. Like, this thing was definitely well used, but it still worked great. And didn't work when I got it. Neither did the other one, and neither did the third one that I have. All three of them didn't really work all that well. And then the tire mounter dismounter needed some maintenance too. So we'll see how that goes. Anyway, I'm going to cut this one off, and I'll kind of bring you guys back once all this is cleaned up and we've got the machines in there. And then I got a friend that had bought some tires and for his wife's car, and might go through a video where we're kind of taking them off the car, mounting them, balancing them, like that kind of thing, and then putting them back on. I might do a little video of that and see what you guys think about that. But anyway, good hearing from everybody, and please like and subscribe, or at least tell your friends to like and subscribe if it's stuff you've never dealt with, or if you want me to like get way more in depth on how these things work, open them up, show them what the inside looks like, and kind of show you really what the differences are on these things, because there's tons of those videos on the Chinese ones. But the Hunter Engineering has done a really good job of locking down what these things are built like and what they look like. So if you guys are interested, let me know. And because I don't have any problem tearing this thing apart. That's not a problem. So anyway, talk to you guys later. Have an awesome day.